Welcome back folks and welcome back to a new video. So today we have the new earnings report from CD Projekt Capital Group for Q3 of 2025, where we have learned a lot about what this company is doing, what to expect in the future, and basically like what's happening within their development team. So I'm gonna be going through all of that, and as always at the end of the video I will give you my own thoughts on what I think about everything which is happening currently with CD Projekt, and I think there might be something very interesting for next year that we can expect. So first things first, we have learned that Cyberpunk 2077 has sold more than 35 million copies to date. This is actually more than The Witcher 3 did in the same post-release time frame and is now the main revenue driver for CD Projekt, meaning that all of those patches and updates they have released for the game are pretty much working in their favor because, well, The Witcher 3 has reached somewhat of a market saturation, meaning that, well, people who already own The Witcher 3 and who played it throughout all of these years have pretty much, been there. There's still going to be sales of the game, of course, but majority of people who wanted to play it even, after the game released, even after all of those expansions, has pretty much, reached its peak. And slowly but surely Cyberpunk 2077 took that role because even when, Cyberpunk was initially released, the sales were pretty much still going strong for, The Witcher 3 itself, but right now, as I said, with the Phantom Liberty, with them taking a time to fix the game properly, I believe this is going to be good for the future itself because, well, this number is definitely going to rise. Especially considering that we're not gonna be getting, Cyberpunk 2 for any, time being, because right now the main focus is going to be on The Witcher, but we're gonna get to that. Now, when it comes to the financials, keep in mind that for Q3 the consolidated revenue was 350 million zloty, which is approximately 95 million US dollars, and the net profit for Q3 was 193 million zloty, which was 52 million USD, which is pretty good considering that this is one of their better Q3s overall because, well, again, those sales of Cyberpunk are sort of really keeping those numbers up. One of the reasons why it's also happening is because they ported the game onto other systems. So you have the Cyberpunk 2077 being on a PlayStation Plus, you have the release on Mac devices, you have all of those things, culminating because the more ways you can get to play the game, ultimately that's going to be better for the studio because, well, they heavily rely on the sales of Cyberpunk 2077 to fund every single one of their upcoming projects because, well, again, they don't have a lot of games. The library of CD Projekt is relatively small in that sense considering when they made their company, so these sort of games are made in a way that they make money over a longer period of time, and it seems for CD Projekt in particular, this is phasing out really well and is going in their favor. Because even as they said, their profits that they posted in the year so far has been around 350 million zloty, which again is 95 million USD. So that's profitability. That's very good considering that, CD Projekt didn't really have a release in a while now. Now, when it comes to development teams which are engaged in ongoing projects, we can see that CD Projekt has been hiring new people, and we also did get some news about some of the people from I believe Kingdom Come Deliverance are also gonna be working for CD Projekt now, which is really good. So if we take a look at The Witcher 4, which is in the full production right now, we see that the total number of developers is 447 people, so this means this game is heavily being created. Now, Cyberpunk 2 has also seen an increase to 135, so very happy this is, going on. Project Sirius, which is going to be, at least it was, a multiplayer Witcher project for broader audience, again, as they said, has now 56 people working on it. I'm really happy this project is still ongoing, and because, well, the team is increasing, those are probably going to be good news for all of us. Now, Hadar has 29 people working on it. Keep in mind, early concept stages, we actually have no idea what this IP is going to be, where is it going to be set, and what the game is going to be about, but I'm definitely looking forward to this. Also, for shared services, there was an increase in 162, and other has 22 developers, which brings us to a total of 851 developer from July 31st, 2025, meaning 50 new people have joined the company. Now, this is quite expected as, you know, stages of development are ongoing, especially as I said again for The Witcher 4, which is now in that full production. So we'll follow and see like how this number is going to fluctuate like after that game comes out and once they start, you know, pivoting to other ongoing projects, but we'll see about that. It's still very early to talk about it. Because even if we take into account the Witcher 4 release, my idea of this game releasing would be probably 2028. I doubt that we're going to see this game before that date. I mean, even with full production now, it's gonna be at least 2 more years until this is finished, and then you can maybe go for like 3-4 years until, you know, Cyberpunk 2 comes out. Now, I know that people were saying like, oh, they want a bunch of games until like 2026. Sure, that was a plan a while back, but you know, plans change, and in this case, at least when it comes to CD Projekt, it's not going to be a huge surprise if the project is delayed. And this also brings us to Cyberpunk 2. So, as you know, the Cyberpunk 2 teams are going to be in Warsaw, Vancouver, and Boston. And right now we have the actual like graph here for laying the foundation for Cyberpunk 2, the process of scaling up the Boston team. So, we can see that the Boston team right now is pretty much in a good spot, and by the end of 2027 they want to have 300 people involved in this, which kind of makes sense if you think about like, you know, the year 2027. That's probably going to be when the, you know, the development of The Witcher is not going to be well ending, but it's going to be arriving to somewhat its end. So they have to have this team pretty much ready to take on, you know, Cyberpunk 2, so there is not a huge gap between these games anymore. I think that's one of the things they want to do with it. Honestly, I would not be surprised if that multiplayer Witcher game came out after The Witcher 4 to sort of like, you know, cut the time between these two games, but again, you know, plans are gonna be plans and we'll see. So when it comes to the company itself, they said that this year was really good for them, especially when it comes to this time frame like in the previous year and year before that. So in general, when it comes to at least money, when it comes to like just how the company is doing right now, CD Projekt is in a very good spot, which is very nice to see considering how much time and money they have spent to fix, you know, Cyberpunk 2077, which in turn turned out to be good for them because they made that money back and ultimately are making and made profit out of it so far. Because usually mistakes that big that were actually present like on the game release, if it was a smaller company or something like that, it would have been, you know, going into serious issues and potentially having like the entire like, you know, fate of the company, but in this case it turned out to be very well. When it comes to the other news, we have two interesting things. So first off, one is about the Game Awards. So on the presentation later, which was, you know, Q&A with the investors, CD Projekt said that they don't have plans to reveal anything at TGA this year, so I would not be expecting anything Witcher 4 related on that show. So I know some people were waiting, and well, technically like previous year they did, you know, announced the game through it, but this year they're actually not having any plans to show anything, so just, you know, keep that in mind, which does make sense. I mean, if they wanted to show something for The Witcher 4, which is like a proper, maybe a trailer, maybe even some gameplay, I would maybe say maybe Summer Game Fest of 2026, because it's going to be enough time, you know, passage until, you know, the game comes out, and then their previous somewhat of an advertising project, which was basically that tech demo that they did with Unreal Engine 5. So I think the summer of 2026 we might be getting something for The Witcher 4, but I'm not going to expect it any time before that. And also when it comes to their incentive program, so basically within the company they have this incentive program for the amount of money they want to make, the goals they want to reach, and so on and so on. So one of the things which was interesting is that they said next year in 2026 they plan to reach those incentive goals with, you know, money being generated from 2026 from a product. Now on one side we do have that card game project which has been announced, you know, with Cyberpunk 2077, and also there was that leak a while back from that Polish guy when it came to the new DLC slash small expansion in a sense for The Witcher 3, which is supposedly coming out in 2026. Now, we didn't get any information about it so far. Nothing has been, talked about when it comes to that specific leak. And I sort of think if they want to do that, if they want to, reach those incentive goals, I think one of the things would be to maybe release it. And the leaker from Poland is pretty much known and people trust him, so I think there could be a strong case of something like that happening in 2026, which wouldn't surprise me because, let's face it, in 2026 at least, CD Projekt wise and Witcher 4 wise, Cyberpunk 2 wise, we're not gonna be getting anything when it comes to that. So maybe having this Witcher 3 DLC / update, whatever it is, could be very good for them. And also, I hope one of the things they're gonna be working on in 2026 and releasing it are proper modding tools for Cyberpunk 2077. I hope they're not going to make the same mistake again and release something which is, far away from initial release and people sort of lost interest, because the Cyberpunk modding community has been very active and getting proper modding tools for everyone I think would be definitely very nice. And so far this is pretty much it. So they haven't revealed anything new in the sense of their upcoming games, but at least they said like, look, we're not gonna have anything on TGA, we're gonna be talking about that game when we are ready, and there could be something happening in 2026 when it comes to The Witcher 3 related alongside, well, the other projects which they have announced, like the card game itself, which they posted. So this is pretty much what I think about it and all of the news we have for it right now. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, don't forget to tell me down below what do you think about all of this, and also click that like and subscribe button for more. Huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. I will see you very soon with a new video because I've been working on some very interesting stuff. Stay classy everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.